Shalom. Let's see this. Shalom. Before I begin, I want to give all honor, glory, and praise unto Yahweh, Bahasham Yahabushai, Bahasham Rachakodash, Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Yahabushai. Double honor to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who are teaching 100% truth of the Holy Scriptures. Shalom to the elect, Shalom to the brothers that are pushing the word of Yahweh, Bahasham Yahabushai in truth and sincerity. And this lesson is going to be entitled Entering into the Passover, which we have one of the most important high holy days coming up in a couple days. And now more than ever is a time to really self-examine ourselves to see if we really in the truth. Sit there and purge out that leaven, right? And that leaven is different to each brother, but it takes time for you to sit down and analyze, what can I do better? What can I, cut off, right? Because after the Passover, things is gonna shake up, right? So we don't want to fall off of the truth. Shalom, brother. Yahweh Shem Yahushai, Hashem Chakodash Barakatah. We don't want to fall off in order, because of not following, what the scriptures say, right? And now more than ever is a time to really, like Jake be saying, lock in, right? With everything going on, you don't want the spiritual Noah's Ark to leave you behind, right? So I'm gonna start with this here, Psalms chapter 34 and verse 18. It says, Yahweh Ba'asham Yahabushai is nigh unto them that are of a broken heart, and saveth such as of a contrite spirit. Right? And the Lord, he truly hates pride. Because the scriptures say, why is earth and ashes proud? We don't have no reason to be proud. Right? We going through a lot of shit. Right? And it says, Yahweh Ba'asham Yahabushai is nigh unto them that are of a broken heart, and saveth as such as of a contrite spirit. So now I'm going to get that word for contrite, because that's another thing that the apostles and elders, they push, is it not being just a lamb dinner. It's a thing of being, solemn, being serious, having that state of mind that, oh shit, things is gonna turn up, persecution's gonna come, just like it was for Yahushua and even the apostles. Excuse me. Let's see, going to Psalms chapter 34 and verse 18 for that word contrite. Maybe I should just look up contrite. Just look it up in the dictionary. It says feeling or expressing remorse at the recognition that one has done wrong, right? And the Lord has to put that spirit upon you in order for you to feel contrite. You see, because the world, there's a saying in the world where it says, I'd rather tell them I'm sorry before I ask permission, or some bullshit like that. And that right there, man, that shit is whack, man. There's no accountability, and that's the thing with Yahweh Ba'asham Yahabushai, is for us to take accountability of the shit that of our not reaching the goal, so to speak, because we fall short, right? And that's why the importance of being contrite. That's why it says and saveth such as be of a contrite spirit. So those that have acknowledged their faults, right? And that's like the first step to mending a relationship, is acknowledging, like, yeah, man, I messed up, I'm sorry, and every day we should be begging the Lord for forgiveness, because we do fall short, man. Okay, so that's the thing that is Spirit has to be put upon you in order to do so, right? And now going to Isaiah. Chapter 66. The last year of this goddamn wind. Isaiah chapter 66 and verse 2. It says, For all those things hath mine hand made, and all those things have been, saith Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai. But to this man I will look, even to him that is poor and of a contrite spirit, and trembleth at my word. Only the elect truly fear Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai, because we understand that he creates both good and evil. The world just teaches you that they're all love, right? And then when you bring scriptures like the Lord, controls good and evil, right? They tend to, flip-flop around that. And nah, man, the Lord is that of a balanced power. Big as B. Thank you. Big ass bumblebee. 60. I'm gonna read that in the NLT or NIV. It says, "Has he not made these things, all these things, and so they came into being? Declares Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai. These are the ones I look on with favor, those who are humble and contrite in spirit, and who tremble at my word." And that is the thing, is self-evaluating and understanding that the Heavenly Father, he deals with those of a lowly nature. Sometimes I be watching like them like judgment videos, and put the spirit of fear upon me. Shit, let me fucking act right. Seeing these motherfuckers get put to death in brutal ways, that it's necessary, at least for my sake. Puts the more fear of the Lord. And then we read and we imagine these words that are written down, and see how Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai is going to come down on 2/3 of you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. Okay? So now going to the book of 2 Corinthians. See, because Jake, even that of those that when they were in the wilderness, or shit, even right as Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai was delivering them from Egypt, right? You had them talking shit, talking about, hey man, we should have just stayed in Egypt and we finna die here. You know what I'm saying? Man, Jake, he's a real asshole. The Lord did all of these things for us. Yahushua died for us, and yet these people blaspheme, right? It's a goddamn shame, man. This is 2 Corinthians chapter 13 and verse 5. It says, "Examine yourselves whether ye be in the faith. Prove your own selves. Know ye not your own selves how that Yahushua Mashiach is in you, except ye be reprobates." And that's the point, is for us to examine ourselves, to really take a deep look into yourself, looking at man in the mirror, like what's his name said, Michael Jackson. I'm gonna get that word for examine. examine. It's a G3985 Pirazzo. It says to try whether a thing can be done, to attempt to endeavor, to try, make trial of, test, for the purpose of ascertaining its quality, right? And that's why, what is that in Second Esdras? Yes. Here, this is just a quick one. Second Ezra chapter 16 and verse 73. It says, "Then shall they be known who are my chosen, and they shall be tried as the gold in the fire." Right? Because the verses above, it speaks about, you know, people getting home invasion on, right? Them, you know, dying for the lack of goods, and the Lord is going to protect his man. And that's another thing that we have is hope. So it says, then shall, verse 73, then shall they be known who are my chosen, right? 1/3 of you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, right, starting with the man, are that of the chosen. They have been predestinated from the beginnings of the earth in order to have the Lord's grace. It says, and they shall be tried as the gold in the fire, right? And gold that in the furnace of affliction, right? That's who you'll know who is Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai's, right? Because there's going to be people that they were more dross than gold, so they're gonna burn away. You know what I'm saying? So again, going back to Parizzo, it says to try, make trial of, test, for the purpose of ascertaining his quality. And that's the thing with the trials and tribulations, is what is your quality of faith, right? It says, or what he thinks, or how he will behave himself. Woo! And that's where the trial comes, man. The temptation to sin, the biggest temptation is coming about us, man, with this whole MOTB system, not being able to function in society. We're going to be, you know, hunted down. We're going to be be labeled as criminals and domestic thieves. But you see, that's just part of being in this truth. 2 Corinthians, back in 2 Corinthians chapter 13 and verse 5, it says, examine yourselves whether ye be in the faith. And we have to use a measuring stick, which is the Holy Scriptures. Prove your own selves, know ye not your own selves, how that Yahushua HaMashiach is in you, except ye be reprobates. And that's the thing, is that we're not trying to be reprobates. Coming into this Passover, right, like, you know, everybody's been saying, man, this truly could be the last one. Let me get a reprobate right quick. It's G96 Adokimos. Not standing the test, which is the opposite to examine, right? But you don't fail. The examine is to see, you know, if you're going to fail or not. It says not approved, properly used of metals and coins, right? Because we are known as precious stones. You know what I'm saying? We are the Lord's jewels. It says with that which does not prove itself, such as it ought, right? Because we as Israelites, we are held to a higher standard in the world, right? We are royalty. We are, you know, kings and priests and princes. And that's what it says, and does not prove itself such as it ought. Right? We have a responsibility in order to act according, right? It says unfit or unproved, spurious, reprobate. right? Unapproved. You're worthless. The scriptures speak about that we have to be like salt, and if the salt ain't adding any flavor, then what's it good for? It's good to be thrown out of the street, and trodden upon. All right. So going back to 2 Corinthians 13 and verse 6 now, it says, "But I trust that ye shall know that we are not reprobates." And that's the thing. We are not reprobates. We have great teachers that are showing us the way to be not reprobates. You see, you got these other goddamn Israelite camps that, starting from the head, hey, they're reprobates. Dudes like IUIC, alright, which a little leaveneth the whole lump, which we're gonna get. Alright, dudes like ISUPK, these are reprobates, man. They have not passed the test. But you see, they got the numbers, because they got the gimmicks, they got the numbers, they got the whole little outfits, But hey, the Lord deals with the inward man, not the outward. Here, let me get that right quick. I know that was David. Saul. 1 Samuel. 1 Samuel. 16. That's so fucking big. First Samuel chapter 16 and verse 7. It says, "But Yahweh Shem Yahushua said unto Samuel, Look not at his countenance or on the height of his stature, because I have refused him. For Yahweh Shem Yahushua seeth not as man seeth, for man looketh on the outward appearance, but Yahweh Shem Yahushua looketh on the heart." Right? Because he was looking for the next king of Israel, and that being from the house of Jesse. Right? And King David's brothers, big brolic Judites, big beards, muscular, you know what I'm saying? And you had little old shepherd David, which that's why I said he ain't looking how man looketh. You would think that, oh shit, yeah, this right here, he's for sure gonna be the king of Israel. I mean, look at him, man. He's big brolic, you know what I'm saying? He's buff. But you see, that's not how Yahweh Shem Yahushua looks. Let me see. Going back. Because also Yahushua, he spoke about whited sepulchres. Let me get that. Whited sepulchres. But inside were dead man's bones. This is the book of St. Matthew, chapter 23 and verse 27. It says, "Woe unto you," and this is a curse out chapter for when Yahushua was getting on them. This is a "Woe unto you, scribes and Pharisees, hypocrites," and we have a lot of that, amongst the circumcision, right? Which is shit talking ass Jake, right? That's why Yahushua told to the people, "Hey man, listen to what they say, but don't do as what they do." Roughly paraphrasing, right? Because they're saying the right thing, but they ain't, but they're a bunch of hypocrites, man. It says, "Woe unto you, scribes and Pharisees, for ye are like unto whited sepulchres, which indeed appear beautiful outward, but are within full of dead man's bones and all uncleanness." And that's what they are, right? They wear, the fancy garments, right? They talk with the good vocabulary, but on the inside they're dead man's bones. Right? You call him a piece of shit. It says, even so, ye are also outwardly appear righteous unto men. Right? You would think that, you know, they be up in the on the little podcasts and things like that. Hey, well, give me the scripture and this and that, right? But you see, but within ye are full of hypocrisy and iniquity, right? Because you got IUIC constantly talking about keeping the law and this and that, but hey, they slander like a MF, right? They must have forgotten that. They just breezed past that. Thou shalt not bear false witness. You see, and Yahweh Shem Shai is gonna put a card real fucking soon. It says, okay, yeah, that's it. So let me go to 1 Corinthians. Chapter 5 and verse, what is that? 5, 6. Let's see, yeah, let me get a preset right quick. I'll get this one first, and then, you know what, I'll get this 11th chapter. I'll start 1 Corinthians chapter 11 and verse 23. It says, for I have received of the Lord that which also I delivered unto you, that the Lord Yahushua, that same night in which he was betrayed, took bread, and when he had given thanks, he brake it, and said, take, eat, this is my body, which is broken for you, to do in remembrance of me. After the same manner also he took the cup when he had supped, saying, this is the cup of the New Testament in my blood, this do ye as oft as ye drink it in remembrance of me. Right, so this is a let's see, that's 127. 27. Right now, I'll read that after, brother. It says, for often as ye eat this bread and drink this cup, ye do shew the Lord's death till he come. Right, so it's not no small thing, man, to eat of the Passover. That's why, you know, through the Spirit, some people, man, they fall off because, you know, they eat it, like it says here, it says, wherefore whosoever shall eat this bread and drink this cup of Yahweh of the Lord unworthily, and they got a little thing right here in the middle here, it says, in unworthy manner, unworthily shall be guilty of the body and the blood of the Lord. Right, so you putting the Lord, you know, to shed to the death again with you eating of the Passover unworthily, and that ain't no small how should I say this, it's not no small thing. Okay, that's why, again, sometimes, you know, shit, the first time coming in this truth, it was a thing of shit, man, we gonna hold the Passover, but the Lord had it to where you know, it just didn't fall through, but because we were not ready, you know. I'm gonna read this. This is the water, bro. This is from Issacharite Hopeful Soldier, 1 Corinthians 1 and 27. It says, but the Most High hath chosen the foolish things of the world to confound the wise, and hath chosen the weak things of the world to confound the things which are mighty. All right, and that's, you know, this truth, what people see prophesying on the streets, because we have no standing army. We chant down Babylon, man. That's all we need. But you see, because that's a foolish thing to the world, and the Lord used that to uplift himself. You know, man, call Allah Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. the water, bro. Back to 1 Corinthians 11 and verse 23 now. It says, but let a man examine himself, and so let him eat of that bread and drink of that cup. By going back to examine, it says, for he that eateth and drinketh unworthily eateth and drinketh damnation to himself, not discerning the Lord's body. For this cause many are weak and sickly among you, and many sleep. Right? That's why it's a serious thing in order to take part of the Passover. A brother had posted a short some time ago, right? And man, have women all type, singing and dancing, and got the little fucking kids running around and shit like that. Like, that's not no solemn assembly, inviting these celebrities to Passover when you bring a damnation unto them. Oh, it's a mighty fine lamb. Over there sucking on their fingers and shit. It really paired well with that wine, It says, for if we would judge ourselves, we should not be judged. Okay, yeah, that's it. Going back to, jumping back to 1 Corinthians chapter 5 and verse 6. It says, for your glory is not good. Know ye not that a little leaven leaveneth the whole lump? So I'm going to get that word for leaven. Oh, nice. Thought this shit was going to overheat. Brother Kazak, Big Bro Kazak was going over this sometime earlier this week, but he was going into the inveterate, yeah. So I'm gonna read that again. 1 Corinthians 5 and verse 6. Sorry, it says, your glorying is not good. Know ye not that a little leaven leaveneth the whole lump? And that word for leaven is douzomi, G22 verse G22:19. It says leaven in very mental and moral corruption, viewed in its tendencies to infect others. Right. So like the scriptures say, so is the head. It's in I think it's in Sirach, where it says so are the officials. Let me get it right quick. I think it's 12, I think. Let me just look it up. Shit. This is Sirach chapter 10 and verse 2. It says, as the judge of the people is himself, so are his officers, and what manner of man the ruler of the city is, such are all that dwell therein. I'm not saying that, all the people in other camps are, wicked, right? But shit, these they have shit leadership, So with that, being, as you could say, their standard, so to speak. With that being their standard, so to speak, Right? That's how you could say the soldiers are as well, or their underlings. Right? Just a bunch of hypocrites, teaching false doctrine. That's why Apostle R calls them zombies. Right? Yeah, that's it on that. It's also the word leaven, right? We look up that word inveterate, and it says having a particular habit, activity, or interest that is long established, right? It's just certain habits, that Jake didn't cut off, and then now it's just, like they say, it's a hard thing to teach a old dog new tricks. Some along them lines. It says, and unlikely to change, right? But you see, Yahweh Shem Yahushai, he's going to put in the spirit to those of the elect coming out of the other camps to change. Put that spirit of change upon them, because that's where it's at, man. This ain't a thing about hounding over you, right? But there's a false sense of like manly, over, doing it and shit. Because you got the ISUPK talking about zero cowards or no cowards, some along them lines, right? But it says a little leaven leaveneth the whole lump. So that's these people, man, and they have a lot of leaven when it comes to the breakdowns of the scriptures, their hypocrisy, right? They're a bunch of liars, man, at the end of the day. And Yahweh Shem Yahushai is going to hold all of their idle words. He's going to count them in remembrance. Verse 7, it says, purge out therefore the old leaven, that ye may be a new lump, as ye are unleavened. For even Hamashiach, our Passover, is sacrificed for us. So now I'm going to go get that word for purge. Is purge out. Purge out is G1571. It says ekath airo. Ekath airo. It says to cleanse out, clean thoroughly, to cleanse. Right? So the way we are on the outside, we try to be as righteous as we can. We have to be that on the inside as well. We can't be, like I stated, those whited sepulchres, right? And it starts with our inside, with how our mind thinks, right? Controlling the thoughts that we think, because Satan's gonna come up in there and plant shit against brothers, plant things, to do this and that, and the hell nah, right? You rebuke that shit sharply and quickly. Because what, you let that shit fester, and brothers got something against me. You know what I'm saying? And then what, that shit lingers and it builds, and then now trust issues, and it's not good to hold grudges. And now is the time to purge that out, to cleanse, man, thoroughly clean, like they say in the world, spring cleaning. You know what I'm saying? And right now is that springtime in order to thoroughly clean ourselves through the power and spirit of Yahweh Shem Yahushua. Let me get there right quick. Cleansed by the word. Cleansed by the word. KJV. In verse 26, it says that ye might sanctify and cleanse it with the washing. Let me see what 25 says. Ephesians chapter 5 verse 26, it says that ye might sanctify and cleanse it with the washing of the water by the word. It says that he might present it to himself a glorious church, not having spot or wrinkle or any such thing, that it should be holy and without blemish. Right? And that's why in the book of Revelation it tells us to keep our garment clean. We have to constantly, keep on washing ourselves, man, because we're living in this filthy, wicked world, and that shit tends to, splash on you, and you gotta wipe that shit off you, man, with the word. That's why reading is so key, studying is so key, praying, fasting, things of the spirit. Because, you know, sometimes we could get, you know, too into the ways of the world. All right, with this whole work, and you got family, and you know, you want some downtime sometimes. All right, but everything is a balance. You know what I'm saying? It's a healthy balance to keep your mind as sane as possible. All right, because it should drive you crazy, man. You know, that's why you got these Edomites. You know, murder suicide is finna go up on much more on the rise, and this is a spirit of the world. They say that basically they killed their families, and then they off themselves because what they see that as a mercy killing. Oh shit, you know. I heard, you know, several dudes say that. Like, fuck it, I'll just kill my family. But turn to the Lord. But you know, it wasn't for them. It says, verse 7 again, purge out therefore the old leaven, that ye may be a new lump. Let me see new lump. But that's what it is, man. That old, you know, dusty, dirty, smelly, you know, individual we were in the world. You know, you got, you know, every day throw more dirt in that grave. Right? Let me see, new lump. It just means like dough. Looked it up real fast. New batch. I'm gonna just continue. There was kind of nothing. 1 Corinthians chapter 1 and verse 4. Chapter 5 and verse 7. It says, "Purge out therefore the old leaven, that ye may be a new lump, as ye are unleavened." And that's the thing, you know. Each year, each day that we're in this truth should be a renewing of our minds. Shit, man, let me do better. You know, and I speak to myself first and foremost, because shit, man, like they say in the world, be the change you want to see, and it starts within your mind. It starts within you first, right? And the most important is when you're by yourself, because no one's there to tell you what to do, and that's where the counsel comes in and things like that of nature. But we have to, you know, truly work on ourselves when we're by ourselves, right? And being, you know, in solitude is, you know, not a bad thing. It helps you evaluate your mind. It helps you, you know, think, man. Have time and take a fucking deep breath. Go to the park or some shit. Go to the go walk. Apostle Gabar was going into, I forgot what the name of it, but you know, going to, you know, the mountains or among the trees, getting some deep breath of some good nature air mixed with a little bit of chemtrails. You know what I'm saying? Shit, man. Just even that, man, is it'll lighten up the your spirit. It says, for even the Mashiach, our Passover is sacrificed for us. Therefore, let us keep the feast not with old leaven. All right, and that's the thing. The old leaven, that old piece of shit that we used to be, and the ways of thinking like that. And I say it like that because, hey, it is what it is. That's the nature of that old man, that or woman that knew not Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai. No matter how quote unquote righteous you fed this, and you know you donated, and you know you fed puppies and shit like that. Nah, man, right? Even now, man, shit. Our righteousness is as filthy rags still. We still got a lot of time coming. We're only gonna be perfect when our Lord Yahushua makes us perfect, man. It says neither with the leaven of malice and wickedness. Right? And then now is the time to really, you know, forgive, right? Because that's the thing with Jake, man. They don't forgive, man. Forgive in your heart first, in your mind. You know what I'm saying? Forget in your mind, because shit, holding grudges that not only it fucks with your mind, but also it fucks with your health too. You know, holding that in is not good for your health. Now, how much more your spiritual health? All the insects, man. It says, neither the leaven of malice and wickedness, but with the unleavened bread of sincerity and truth. And that's the thing, being sincere and true, right? To Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai, to brothers, man. So I'm gonna end off with this here, Romans, unless I get a precept in between. I'll just start at 1. The book of Romans, chapter 12 and verse 1. It says, I beseech you therefore, brethren, by the mercies of the Most High, that ye present your bodies a living sacrifice, holy, acceptable unto the Most High, which is your reasonable service. All right, and the thing is that it has to be acceptable unto the Lord. All right, we get a glimpse of that with Cain and Abel. Cain's sacrifice, it was not acceptable because he didn't bring what Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai had told him to bring. Right? He brought turnips and goddamn beetroots, carrots and apples and shit like that, you know? Things that ain't supposed to, what the Lord doesn't accept. Right? While Abel, he brought that of the first flock, the most perfect one. Right? And it says, a living sacrifice, holy, acceptable unto the Most High, which is your reasonable service. You see, there isn't this is just what we got to do, man. We have to do this. Let me see. Get this from the comment board. From the comment board, this is again Issacharite hopeful soldier. It says 1 Corinthians chapter 6 and verse 19. It says, what? Know ye not that your body is the temple of the Holy Spirit, which is in you, and which ye have of the Most High, and ye are not your own. All right, amen. This temple, right, it's not ours, man. This is of Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai. And with that, man, we have to take care of it a certain way. All right? So that's where also, you know, the cleaning comes in too. All right? We are this body is, but you know, it was, you could say, rented to us. It was the Lord let us borrow it for this time being. You know, and that's, you know, personally one of my things is having a better diet. You know, not having. It's a lawful diet, but you know it could be a lot better, right? And that's personally one of my levels, right? It says which is a reasonable service, right? You know, it's just, it is what it is. Go out there, you're a man of the Lord, you're an Israelite, and even if you don't proclaim to be a Israelite, you still got to do it, right? Because you see, our four parents. Right, our ancestors, they made a covenant with the Lord. This is Ecclesiastes 12 and verse 13. It says, let us hear the conclusion of the whole matter. Fear the Most High and keep his commandments. This is the whole duty of man. And that's what it is. We as Hebrew Israelites, that is our whole duty, to fear the Lord and keep his commandments. And now to the best of our abilities. Right, because we live in Babylon the Great, where everything's, you know, so goddamn messed up. You know, that's where the rehearsing of the righteous acts comes into. Right, rehearsing is, you know, you're gonna mess up along the way, but when Yahushua comes back, we'll be perfect. All right, Lord will, we are part of that number to make it the first go around. Verse 2, back in Romans chapter 12 and verse 2, it says, and be not conformed to this world, and here is the point, but be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind, that ye may prove that ye may prove what is that good and acceptable and perfect will of the Most High. And that's the thing, all right? We have to prove ourselves by the transforming of our mind, all right? Because it all starts in the mind. That willingness to wanting to change. Oh, let me be a better person, right? And better person is, there's rules to being a better person, and we find that here in the Holy Bible, right? Because shit, an atheist could be so-called a better person, right? But, you know, this is a book of morals as well. Prophecies and rules, right? This is the guidebook to living a better life, right? That's what we have laws, man. Don't fucking steal. That's a big one with our people, man. They're very covetous. Motherfucker, you work hard for your shit. You goddamn thief. Goddamn thieves, man. Hate a goddamn thief. It says, alright, an acceptable again and perfect will of the Most High. Alright, so we have to, you know, strive to be perfect, man. And of course, we gonna fail, we gonna fall. Right, but we get ourselves up, you know, dust ourselves off, and, you know, keep it pushing, man. Scriptures tell us not to let our sins weigh us down, all right? And then not the iniquity lift themselves up. That's a very big thing with the Yahweh Shem Yahushua. Let's go, man. You know, so, you know, Passover is you know, right around the corner, man. So let's get in that state of mind of wanting to change, because again, man, it's gonna turn up. All right, with now I'm gonna end off for real this time. One more, all right, because we have to gear our minds for you know, tribulation. This is Acts chapter 14 and verse 22, and look, right on top of it is 144 on my pages. Oh, 1444. It says, confirming the souls of the disciples and exhorting them to continue in the faith, and that we, and here's the point, right? Well, I mean, it's not a point, but it says, confirming the souls of his disciples and exhorting them to continue in the faith. Like, hell yeah, man, we got it. But if you know, if God is on your side, who could be against you, right? Ain't no amount of incantations, ain't no amount of witchcraft, right? Because you got these Rothschilds and these Rockefellers that, you know, they constantly sacrifice children. They do all types of spells in order to come against the elect of the nation of Israel. And ain't none of that shit. You go on and kill 100 more babies and do all what you gotta do. That shit ain't gonna fucking work, man. It says, and that we must, through much tribulation, enter the kingdom of the Most High. And that is the thing, all right? Is we ain't just gonna skate up in the kingdom, all right? We have to be tested. We have to be tried. Much tribulation. We gonna go through a lot of shit. You're gonna see fucking people dying. Bodies is gonna be stacked. You know what I'm saying? But through all that, we have faith that the Heavenly Father is gonna protect us. All right? So with that being said, Lord willing, it was edifying. We're going to close out by giving all honor, glory, and praise unto Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham Chakodash, Barakat Yahweh, Barakat Yahweh Shai, Shalom.